What up, y'all? We got Subaru Outback. Legacy all-wheel drive. It's gonna work for 2.5 and 3.0 liters. 2004 to 2018, believe it or not, that's a huge range. And we're gonna go ahead, take this here 32 millimeter socket, zip this guy off. Now, always use a new axle nut. This one pinches in on that little keyway. After you get it torqued down, give it a little tap with a hammer and screwdriver or punch to lock it in. 177 foot-pounds is what your torque is on this bad boy. When you go to torque it back down. We got a 7 millimeter on the back here, 7 millimeter Allen. Go ahead and get that little guy loose. There's these little black plastic caps to take off. And before we take one all the way off, we'll get the other one loosened up and take it all the way off. Then we'll go back to the other one. We've got this electronically controlled e-brake caliper on these styles. We gotta get our brakes off here, guys. Step one. Now once it's all the way out the threads, you can use your fingernails and press it back, or a little screwdriver. So it's a little stiff. We're gonna clean up these little sliders in the back of here. I'll just take them out right now. We'll clean them up and put some grease on them. A little high temperature silicone based brake grease. I like to use Sil Glide by AGS. It's the bee's knees. All right, this one pushed back. A little stiff. That's okay. Won't be stiff for long. There we go. Get that one off. We'll see if we can get that caliper to go back a little bit. I'm going to be changing the brake pads and rotors too. We'll kind of just give it a little press back. Just a little one. Now we're going to take our screwdriver and snap this spring out. Easier to take out than put in. Let's get this wiring harness disconnected because it isn't giving us enough room. Pull back on the clip. There's a little clip. Press in on, pull back. It'll come off of there. Alright, now we got our brake hose in our way. So we'll go ahead and take that off. Not giving us enough slack to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? I think that looks like a 12 millimeter. Let's grab a 12 right here. There's this little, might be 11. I think a 12 will work though. Nope, we gotta grab 11. It's a hot one today. No. Did I have a 13 in my hand? 11 doesn't fit. Looks like that 12 millimeter has a crack in it. It's time to go back in for warranty. I just grabbed my 12mm wrench. I told you it was 12. After a couple 100,000 uses, those sockets will get cracks in them sometimes. And this is not going to come out by hand after it cracks free. Alright, so it's a little hold down bolt on the brake hose. On the back of this knuckle here. Here we go, got it out. Give us a little more to our brake caliper. And look, our brake caliper comes out now, guys. Nice. Fantastic. Alright, we got our Siezed 14mm. We're going to go ahead and get this mounting bracket out of the way. Boom. That's just sheer muscle right there, guys. You don't want to get hit with one of these. Alright, before we take that one all the way out, they're pretty good. So we're in Michigan, so there's lots of rust and corrosion. This one's got like 125,000 miles on it. A rear hub assembly shouldn't be going out unless there were some issues. So I don't know what's up with that. Original front hubs, but need to replace the rear driver's side. Like, that shouldn't happen. Maybe you hit some potholes or something, I don't know. We got a lot of those here in Michigan too. Down, 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 down. There we go, mounting bracket. Clean that up with a wire brush. Or a Dremel. Rotor's coming off now. And it's on there pretty good. I can see some corrosion and all that. Alright, you do not want to hit on the friction surface of your rotor. You want to hit right here to get your rotor off. But I don't care. I'll take the leverage spots because I'm replacing the brakes anyway. There we go. A couple smacks will do it. Bunch of rust falling out. Clean up your hub assembly if you're doing brakes. We're getting a new hub, so we're golden. Alright, our CB axle presses right in. If yours doesn't press in, check this out, dude. There's a little hole in the middle. That's for a little punch or air chisel. It'll make that CB axle go back. Alright, we got 4 bolts in the back. That's the only thing holding this sucker on. Pretty sick, eh? We have to find a way to get on those, though. We kind of got a lot of stuff in our way. Let's figure out what size they are. I think they're 14. Oh yeah, 14, baby. Let's grab us a ratchet. Put it on that there socket. Start taking these out. They're not in there like that bad. Once I cracked it free, they're threaded in by hand. About to show you. Here we go. Boom. 1. 3 more to go, right? To get to the other side, we may have to use a combination of extenders. You know your wheel bearing's bad when it's all grinding or humming going down the road. This one was bad enough. It didn't have any play in it where I could grab the wheel and it'd go in and out, left and right. but it hummed really loud just spinning it by hand up in the air. You could hear the humming of the hub assembly. So I knew it was bad. Usually they have some play, but sometimes they just hum when they're bad. All right, so this side, the knuckle on this side extends out further, so we're gonna need some extenders. One of my favorite 1/2-inch extenders. It's got a wobble end on the end of it. It's pretty sick. I think Harbor Freight sells those. Well, let's get that in there. Hit it from the back. Boom. Could probably hit this with my air ratchet. Then we're going to need to extract that hub assembly, right? You guys feel me? If yours is really bad, it might be rotted on. You might need some pullers, some heat, you know. This one doesn't look too bad for a Michigan vehicle. Probably because it's just a 2017. All right, last bolt here. Little PB blaster never hurts anyone or anything, ever. I've got like 5 cans of this stuff just laying in random spots. The first one I found was Breakaway though. Should have soaked that down yesterday. All right, what we're gonna try to do is hit it in a forward motion. We're breaking it free. This one hasn't budged yet. You can try to hit it with your air chisel from the back, but I don't want to hurt this dust cover at all. I think this is the only thing holding the dust cover in, so the dust cover is going to come out with us. Let's give it some solid wax this way. That dust cover. This one is not breaking free. I won't make you watch all the process. I'll tell you what I do. All right, guys, we got a situation here. This is probably not going to happen to you, so you don't have to worry about it. But if it does, it sucks. This hub assembly is still in there. You can see the back of the hub assembly. Spin it over. Boom, there's half the hub assembly. I put a bearing puller on it and it ripped the hub right out. Now we got this half of the hub still in the steering or the in the knuckle, right guys? It really didn't take that much work to get it out, except for there was a few problems like this ball joint being so crusted in there. These bolts came right out for me pretty easy. This one took a little persuasion, you know, and our CV axle just hangs there. Took this out of its loop, took that clip. We got our wheel speed sensor. There was just a little clip right there to take out, and boom, took that out, and that is still on the knuckle. So more work than I wanted it to be, and I sprayed everything with a good amount of PB Blaster. I tried taking the air chisel to the back of this to separate it while it was still on. No luck. Bearing pullers, all the tricks, no luck, right? So now we get to go over to the press, and what we're gonna do on the press is press this hub straight through with 20 tons of force. All right, and that's how we're gonna get it out. Like I said, this probably isn't gonna happen to you, but if it does, it sucks. Should be able to just knock it out with a hammer. All right, guys, let's get back to work. I might have bent up that shield, that dust cover on it just a little bit. I may have gotten a little frustrated. But we got our steering knuckle back on. It went on a lot easier than it came off. I used my wire wheel and cleaned up all the threads, ball joint, all that. We got everything torqued back down, steering knuckles back on. If you have to take your steering knuckle off, not a huge deal. Everything's 17 millimeter bolt. You need a 17 millimeter socket, 17 millimeter wrench. Bada boom. We've got a jack holding up this arm. That was the last thing I put back on out of the steering knuckle. Jack and a chunk of wood to lift it up so I can line it up. Now we take that jack down. Bada boom. Toss our wood out of the way. Really wasn't bad at all putting it back together. I mean, I was cool with it. All right, so we got our dust cover on, and it's being held on by the bolts. I put the bolts back in, the hub assembly bolts, those 4 we took out. It's being held on by that. Put a little bit of grease on the splines, a little bit of grease on the inside of where the hub rests. The next guy who has to take this apart is gonna thank me. All right, so we're gonna put our hub assembly on. Get it lined up with those splines. There we go, it's in there. And then we might have to spin just a little bit to get it lined up. I think I got the thread started. Of course, we got our handy dandy 14 millimeter. We're gonna start torquing these, like maybe do like a little crisscross action, you know? Get them super freaking tight, just the way we like them. They're big bolts. Take a lot to snap them. All right, so we're getting the 4 bolts started. You guys don't have to watch me do all this. Let's do a little fast forward, shall we? All right, we're in the end game now, boys. Woo! Tightened up those 4 bolts in the back, right? Boom. Axle nut I snugged up. We're gonna wanna assemble these brakes first and then do our final torque on that. That way we can press the brake pedal in with a board because I don't got a helper. And then I can torque it with my torque wrench, 177 foot-pound. All right, axle nut torque is considered important. All right, I got my caliper turned back in. I'll make a video on turning these in. I'll make a video on doing brakes on the other side of the rear. I'll do a video on doing the front brakes. Check me out. All right, just type in Fur Curl Subaru, whatever year you got. Should show up. All right, so we tighten down our mounting bracket, put our brake pads in, and ooh, that's a tight squeeze. I think this rotor needs to straighten up for us. Anyways, you get the point. Maybe I don't have that caliper pressed all the way in. Let's press it in a little more. All right, so we're gonna put that caliper on, and I forgot to clean up my pins. Clean and grease your pins. That way you're ready to push them through, tighten those down. That 7 millimeter Allen wrench, where's it at? It's around here somewhere, I can show you. 7 millimeter Allen wrench socket. That's what I use. You can just use a regular Allen wrench, whatever, I got sockets. Everything's tight, everything's put back together. Then we're gonna route our wheel speed sensor back where it goes, route our wiring harness for the caliper back where it goes. We're gonna torque that axle nut down, throw the tire back on, pump the brake pedal. We're gonna pump it to get it set, get that axle nut tight after we get our brake pads set, and bleed the brakes. If you don't know how to do that, watch a vid. Yeah, take it for a test drive, break the brakes in, and make sure that hub is now quiet going down the road. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys.